Vineyard 29 it's an interesting story. Tom Payne and Teresa Norton. And in 1989, they came up from San Diego and they wanted to retire. They were building a house, they wanted to plant a little orchard.
Thankfully, just before they did so, they ran into their neighbors, Dick and Ann Grace. And Dick Grace said, "Welcome to the neighborhood. You're crazy to plant fruit trees. You're in prime Cabernet territory."
No, you can't plant an orchard. This is the best Cabernet territory in the valley. So you need to plant Cabernet Sauvignon. What is in the bottle of Vineyard 29? It's passion, it's dedication, it's precision, and just camaraderie too.
Back in 1989, the previous owners, Thomas Payne and Teresa Norton, moved to this property here at 2929, Highway 29, with every intention of just planting an orchard and building a house and retiring. Because remember, in 1989, you could still drive up and down Highway 29 and it wasn't grapes and wineries everywhere.
Dick and Ann Grace, actually, from Grace Family Vineyards, the original cult Cabernet Sauvignon in Napa Valley, are just right next door. So Dick came running over saying, no, you can't plant an orchard. You're in Cabernet territory. This is the best Cabernet territory in the valley. So you need to plant Cabernet Sauvignon, use my clone, the Grace Family clone. And so they did. They planted a little less than 3 acres. And the first bottling was 1992. The first winemaker was Heidi Peterson Barrett. And through the 90s, they made all the wines at Grace Family for the Grace Family mailing list, sold to the Grace Family customers.
I probably got to see more older vintages than anybody else. You always flip over the back, and so the older bottles of Vineyard 29 had produced and bottled by Grace Family on the back, which was pretty amazing.
Fast forward to 2000, Chuck and Ann McMinn, who are New Jersey natives and high school sweethearts. They were in Silicon Valley for over 30 years, and Chuck's a techie. They started joining and attending the Napa wine auction. They wanted to retire up here too, or at least have a second home, but they didn't know that they were gonna purchase a winery very quickly.
Chuck and Ann were about community. And they loved the idea of the wine industry because in Silicon Valley, somebody can literally steal your idea for a semiconductor or microprocessor and replicate it overnight. Like you can't do that in the wine industry. You can't say like, ooh, well, I'm gonna plant the same clone on the exact same dirt and have the exact same weather and then use the same barrels like from a different year. Like it's impossible. I think that's what makes Napa Valley really amazing.
In 2022, Chuck reached out and told me that he was ready to retire and that he would like me to run the place. And you have the weekend to think about it. And I agreed with him. I got here in early 2005. This is my 22nd year now making these wines. We're constantly, reimagining how to make wine and how to use technology and innovation to basically move grapes and wine around the way they did 2,000 years ago with gravity.
We as winemakers are caretakers of nature. What that means is low intervention and just letting the fruit speak for itself.
the picking decision, the harvest decision is one of the most important parts of winemaking. And so we're out there, we're sampling, and we sample at least once a week. Results get entered into VinTrace, which is our database, and then I have it in VinTrace on my phone. And so then based on those results, I know what blocks to go to and go check out and go taste. If I feel like it's ready and the flavors are there and everything's ripe, and we'll call the pick. I like to give them 72 hours notice. So the grapes are dropped off here on the hillside, and we unload the tractor or the flatbed with a forklift, and then the bin is lifted up by the forklift, and it's driven up here and goes up into that hopper, and then we gently rake the clusters out into that hopper, and then they drop down into the destemmer, and they're basically shaking the grape, and they fall down onto a shaker table, and then the shaker table is moving this way, and there's slots underneath. And so through those slots, if there's any shot berries, any little small raisined berries, maybe little pieces of the stem, they're gonna fall through. Once the shaker table does its thing, the grapes will drop down and they'll fall down into the Vistulus. That's the optical sorter.
It has a camera in there that's taking pictures so many frames per second, like so fast. And based on what we're looking at on our computer screen, we can hand select what we perceive as perfect. So we can kick out the worst looking fruit, raisins, things like that, things that have shriveled up on the vine. You only get the perfect caviar, you know, the perfect berries at the end of the day.
We always talk about Vineyard 29 as a gravity flow facility. I've said it so many times I sound like a broken record, but it's important. It's very important for wine quality. Most wineries would be pumping all this time. Here, we're taking the pump out of the equation and utilizing gravity to do the work.
And gravity feed allows you to ignore the use of pump that can beat up a wine aggressively over time. I can't really get the essence of a wine until a day or two later after it's been beat up by a pump. With gravity flow, I can get that essence the day of.
From when the grapes arrive on the crush pad, hit the tank, when they're gravity fed into the tank, turned into wine, pressed in the basket press, the finished wine will flow out of the basket press into our lift tank, which is in the basement, gravity flow again. And then that lift tank is lifted up in the air up to the third floor, and we run a hose down into the cave, different chutes to different tunnels in the cave. And then you're just standing there at a barrel with a valve, and you're letting gravity fill the barrels. But here on this estate, everything's pretty much native fermentation, so it's the yeasts that are living on the skins and living out there in the vineyard. Those yeasts, those native yeasts, those wild yeasts, are actually carrying out the fermentation, the primary fermentation in tank.
Wild fermentations, it allows the vineyard to truly speak for itself. You have wild yeast that sit on these berries throughout the year without inoculating them from strains that have been doctored in a lab and picked and genetically modified to do what the winemaker wants them to do. You just allow the vineyard to speak for itself.
Typically our reds, our estate reds are 20 months. They spend 20 months in barrel. Once we pick the grapes, we sort the grapes, we ferment in tank. And so once the fermentation is completed and we've pressed the grapes, we've used the lift tank to lift up in the air and fill those barrels with gravity, then that's your chance to elevate the wine. So that's the Élevage time. It's time in barrel.
Our first racking post-harvest, just removing the dead yeast cells from the bottom of the barrel and keeping the wine at the top. And you're only taking the clearest volume of wine off of the top of that dead yeast.
Basically, every time you're racking it out, it's almost like you're not filtering the wine, but you're cleaning it. We're using all this high-tech stuff, but we're basically just trying not to beat up the grapes, be as gentle as possible. What results in the bottle is a supple, sort of velvety texture, a roundness, no rough edges to any of our wines. You can see it in the bottle, all this great equipment and the passion that we have for it. So. So our estate Sauvignon Blanc is one of my favorite wines to make. It's unique in that it spends 20 months in barrel, and 100% new French oak. Creme brulee-like in texture. Some folks use the term yogurty. Picture that acid, that brightness, that freshness along with that texture. So it stands up to wonderful foods. It's like a halibut with a beurre blanc sauce. Diverse scallops. It stands up to these rich crab dishes. So this is a serious Sauvignon Blanc, farmed all by hand, so it's all backpack work. But this year in particular, the grapes are quite small, the berries are quite small. Most of the time Sauvignon Blanc is a larger cluster and the berries are much larger, very, very juicy, whereas ours are very small and very concentrated. There's a lot of volcanic soils here in Napa Valley. Volcanic soils means rocky. The roots of the grapevine are going to be very shallow rooted, usually equals smaller grapes, smaller concentrated berries, and so that's quality right there. Cabernet Franc is getting more popular here in Napa Valley, tiny little concentrated grapes. Then in the wine, that results in a very concentrated wine. The rocky hillside provides tannin in the wine, structure in the wine, potpourri, sort of dried florals, dried rose petal, but it also has a nice, powerful, concentrated backbone to it. So it's a very versatile food wine. Cabernet Franc can go with sort of any of those more lean dishes. I personally like to pair the Cabernet Franc with lamb. Lamb dishes, an unbelievable pairing. Cabernet Franc Block 6. So during flowering and during fruit set, there was a little bit of a rain event and some wind and things like that that provided shatter for a lot of these blocks. It's not bad, but we're not gonna have to drop a lot of fruit on the ground this year, that's for sure. And it's gonna yield a very concentrated, powerful wine, just maybe slightly lower yields than normal. Our Cabernet Sauvignon from the 2-9 estate is it's the OG, it's the original. Cab is more black fruit driven, blacks and blues. The fruit profile is more cassis, black currant, but then there's a pretty violet tone to it as well, which makes it more classic Napa Valley Cabernet. It has great acidity. You could just have it with a piece of cheese, like a Fiscalini cheddar. It's almost like a cocktail Cabernet if you want it to be, but then it can hold up, take you all the way through a meal, any cut of beef. It's a real food-friendly wine.
We don't do this because we love just wine. We do this because we really love wine. This is really hard work. These guys are carrying barrels around, racking, blending. We do so much work on all these wines that when they finally go to bottle, that is the most rewarding thing.
I think Vineyard 29 should be known for its finesse and its elegance and its polish and its attention to detail and its meticulous winemaking.